Hi and welcome to the September 2020 update from Dean Park. Been beavering away on 3 projects in particular in the last month. First off, I've got the Girder bridge section at the Signal and Telecommunications area. Been busy manufacturing that, and you'll see the progress on that in this video. I've also been designing and building tunnel portals and retaining wall for a small cutting section at the depot side, and I've also been removing the frames and the old vinyls from the ID Backscenes and replacing them with brand new fresh vinyls along the side of the station, which you'll see obviously in the shot now. So whilst the Backscenes are exactly the same, they're fresh, and as I said, the backboards have also been replaced, so it's all brand new. So that took quite a bit of time in preparation, building and applying all those. So I'll take you through each area in some detail and also show you a couple of new things that I've got for the layout regard to rolling stock, and I hope you enjoy. Any questions, please do get in touch. If you watched the last update, you'll have seen me fabricate these walls. They're now painted in Humbrol 70 with a Humbrol 121 mortar wash, and then weathered with some dark greys, soot shades and a sleeper grime. Weathering concentrated around the bottom and on the insides. They'll be given more of an individual weathering using the Tamiya pastes and powders. The ledges here are made from plasticard, a 1.5mm thick plasticard there with a 0.5 ledge. I'll take it apart so you can see it. The capping stone on the top is just 1.5mm. The girder section here is from Wills, and I've given it a heavy rusted appearance with streaking of the rust and lots of chipping, and then used a light grey as well. You'll notice there's 2 panels here that are newer. They're actually going to be at the back. They're going to turn the girder around as if these 2 have been painted from staff at the Signal and Telecommunications doing some maybe running repairs on it. The section down here, the support, it's a MDF base with brick card on it with a concrete ledge, and these pillars are 30mm dowel, and they've been painted in weathered concrete and given a weathering as well. They'll again be taken to a more individual look with the Tamiya pastes and powders. There's another section that rests under here connected to the top of the pillar. I've not fitted it on this view, but you'll see it when I show you what I'm doing on the workbench. Hopefully this will all tie in with the retaining wall that will eventually go here, and one will come out from here, okay, to kind of box this area in. Right, first off we've got these ledges, and I said to you in the previous clip, it's a 1.5mm and a 0.5mm, and you can see the kind of ledge there. Just adds a little bit of detail, and it also matches the ledges at the other side of the Signal and Telecommunications girder section. So they have not been glued together yet. They'll obviously get glued together, primed and then painted. Looking at the girder, I've managed to get this heavily rusted and bleeding rust effect using Humbrol products. I'll put the link to that video at the top of the screen. I'm quite pleased with that actually. If you look closer, you can actually see there's a texture. The actual rust is coming through the paint, the way that the technique works. Okay, the Wills kit is a good girder kit, and you can have it as long or as short as you like. I've used it 2 or 3 times in the layout now, so I know what I'm getting, and yeah, I'm happy with it. Okay, looking at the upright section here, it's not glued to the base. As you can see, just see that's a piece of MDF that I've sanded to the curvature of the area to match the curvature of the track. That'll probably give you a better look at some of the weathering I've managed to get on the concrete pillars. Okay, not finished yet, I'll be giving it a more individual appearance. On top of there will go a section like so, okay, and it will push through to so the dowels are flush with the top there, and that will in turn at the front anyway rest the girder on. You can probably see there, it'll just rest there just to give an extra bit of support. I looked at girder bridges in my area, and I'm kind of mimicking the construction of one of them with this design. As I mentioned in my previous update, I'm working on some retaining walls and some tunnel portals for the section along at the end of the depot. These are my retaining walls just now, which are under construction, and they're made from 2mm MDF with a Southeastern fine cast Flemish embossed plastic sheet on there, obviously to give the brickwork, and put in place with a nice level covering of Rocket Rapid. Here we've got the plinths, and they're sitting on a 0.5 styrene sheet and then glued on. Okay, and I've left gaps there for the buttress wall, and at the ends you'll see I've had to cut away there, and that's so that the buttresses for the tunnel sit nice and tightly against the corners. Okay, if I turn it around the back, you'll see the framing, and it's just MDF strips and cut and glued together with some PVA, and this bit here obviously be covered in embossed card with the brick pattern as well. Looking at the tunnel portals, there's two of them. There's a double portal and a single. These are made from layers of 2mm MDF, and then obviously I've used the same brickwork on top of there, and these buttresses are just made from 3 layers of 2mm styrene sheet and glued together and then cut and sanded. It took a bit of work to do that, I can tell you, and then I've just finished them off with the Southeastern fine cast brick. And this one here is the single portal, and you'll see that I've got the buttresses at equidistant from the edge of the tunnel mouth. There's an extra little bit here to go into the corner, which you'll see when I put it on the layout in position. So I've used the plinth wall there to match with the plinth on the retaining wall. Obviously I've got 2 of these sections. As you can see here, I've got them loosely in position, and the benefit of cutting away the buttresses there is clearer. Obviously it'll be sitting like that. There's something not quite square on the baseboard there. I'll have to maybe sand it down a little. Okay, so they'll sit like that, and the gap there is for the stone, the capping stone to go in, as well as obviously stones and edging around the top. There'll be a brick detail going along at the same level as the capping stone there, and that'll match my other retaining walls, and obviously it'll break in the middle for the vertical buttress. These 2 walls are identical, okay, left and right, and the interiors or the tunnels will allow brick interiors, so you don't see this, you know, upright support, and the same obviously with the single portal. You'll get a better view here of the single portal in position. Again, it'll have the stones being slotted into that gap there, and it'll be obviously edged with a stone portal, as will the 2-lane portal. This area at the back here, just to give you a little heads up, I'm thinking about putting quite a tall factory, low relief, and maybe staggered designs. I've got a design in my head, but I'm just going to start working on that through the next 2 or 3 months, and obviously it'll be a scratch build, and hopefully it'll take up the area from about here away to here. Okay, and this will be fenced off in private land. I'm wanting to hide the cows and some of the hedgerows. Okay, I'm wanting it to be more industrial. A major task this month was to redo the back scenes and the backboards at the station side of the layout. The previous set were 7 years old, and whilst they were fine, there were some gaps between the actual joins in the backboards and the joins between the actual sheets themselves, and this kind of irked me a little bit. I've been meaning to redo them for quite some time. I finally got around to doing it. The next couple of clips will show you the basis of what I did and how the frame is actually constructed. I use the ID back scenes, and they're 15 inches high, and they're self-adhesive ones. The actual width of the ply from top to bottom is 440mm. As you can see here, I've got the 3 sections, each 8 foot long. They are, as I said earlier, 440mm wide, and they have got, as you can see, the wood supports there poking out the bottom. That allows them to slot into the raised edge that I've got right around the layout. You'll notice there's a notch out of the one at the far right of the screen. That's to allow the trains to go into the storage yard from the bottom of the incline. And I have painted them white. Now they're birch ply, they're 6mm birch ply being a lot better than exterior ply for quality of finish and surface. So what I did there was I sanded them down. I then fixed the back frames onto the ply with a few panel pins with lots of PVA at the back, and then I filled the holes left by the panel pins after punching them below the surface, and gave a good sanding with an orbital sander before painting them in this gloss white, obviously using primer and undercoat first to seal the wood. So these are now ready to accept the self-adhesive backscenes. The backscenes need a glossy finish, so whether that be gloss varnish or in this case a white gloss finish for me. You won't see the painted finish obviously because it will be covered with the self-adhesive backscenes, but you need to get as smooth a surface as you can and a glossy one at that. Obviously the new backscenes are in place, so you can't really see the back of them, but this is another part of the layout with the same construction, and it's just basically, I think that's 60mm wide by 20mm in thickness, and it's just it's whitewood pine, and I've cut notches down there, so this bit slides at the back of the surround, if you like, I've got all the way around the layout, and this bit of ply slides into it, and it gives a very rigid, upright, also removable backseam, backboards. Okay, so that is it. And the big lesson that I learnt from the first set, apart from using a roller to apply the paint, was not to use as many pins and use smaller panel pins for putting the ply onto this framing. Okay, they're obviously glued and pinned there, but there's only 2 or 3 pins there, whereas before I was using 5 or 6, which obviously I then had to punch below the surface, wood fill, sand down, etc. So I've learnt as I've gone along, and this is obviously the bare birch ply. It's not cheap, I think it's about 33 quid for a 8x4 sheet, and I've cut it into 440mm widths to get the height for the back scene. In fact, the merchant did that for me. I've not got that facility to do that, so I was supplied with them as ordered at 440mm, so you get 2 strips out a sheet of 8x4. During the last month or so I've been adding some RTC stock and this breakdown coach, which is in the middle there with the white roof. The 2 coaches at the back plus the Wagon are from Hornby, and the one at the right hand side of the screen, that's a Bachmann Collectors Club limited edition. So I'll take a closer look at the 2 Hornby coaches and the Wagon. Okay, first we've got Hornby R40010, and it's a Landor breakdown unit, and it's just a Mark 1 BSO coach, and it's obviously painted in the RTC colours. This actual coach sat at Landor for many years, and whilst not in the pristine condition that it is in front of you now, Hornby have done a reasonably good job actually of getting the colours right and some of the details. Obviously the Mark 1 coach from Hornby isn't as detailed in regard to extra fitted parts as the Bachmann one, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper and actually is a very good representation of this iconic British coach. The second coach from Hornby I've got is this Lab 10 coach, and it's a Mark 1 BSO. Hornby have done really well with this. They're addressing an area in the market that is quite sought after. If you look at the Bachmann ones that I had running behind the Sutton 24 in previous videos, I mean, they're like gold dust now. And if Bachmann wanted to do a re-release of these, they would just fly off the shelves. Hornby have obviously seen a little hole in the market here, and they've gone for it, and by all accounts this is selling pretty well, so don't be surprised if Hornby do some more RTC stuff in next year's catalogue. Overall the coach is very well presented. As I said earlier with the breakdown coach, it's not quite as detailed as the Bachmann offering. Some of the separately fitted pipe work at the end on this Hornby model is moulded, which is fine. Colours are fairly accurate, although they do differ somewhat from the Bachmann offering and also from the Sutton Class 24 in the RTC livery. So who's right, who's wrong? You know, in general, I think this is a pretty good effort, to be honest. The fan here is just a printed detail, which is a bit of a letdown, but you know what? How else were they going to do it? And also, when it's going past, you don't really notice it as much. This coach actually should have a window. If I turn the coach round, should have a window in the end. Hornby have At least they included it. Backman missed it out altogether, and again it's just a pretty basic printed detail. I felt maybe they could have added a window there with a bit of rejigging the tooling, but then again you're looking at a very niche coach, and the expense for altering the tooling might have been prohibitive. Right, looking at the third of the RTC liveried Hornby stock, this obviously is just a box fan, and we've got flawless application of the livery, including the white lines there, the white lining, absolutely flawless, as is all the text along the side. I like the end detail here with the plank detail, and obviously all your bracing and your hinges. It's not got sprung buffers, not got much in the way of under frame detail either, but when it's sitting in a siding all weathered up, you're not going to notice that. And for £22, it's not bad at all. In the foreground and the background, you'll see the Accurascale PCA wagons. These are my favourite wagon in the layout just now. The detail on them in the moulding and in the printing, as well as the separately fitted parts and etched detail, just blow me away every time I actually have a close look at them. I had 12, which I got originally, and I did a review on those, and the link to that is at the top of the screen. But last week I sold some Lima Mark 3s, and I had a bit of money burning a hole in my pocket, so I bought 6 more. So that's me now got a good rake of 18. I've not ruled out buying more, by the way, because I just like them so much. And they'll be hauled behind the 60, the 56, some 37s or 47s or whatever. But yeah, as I say, they are absolutely superb wagons. Check out the review video. I think they're still available at Accurascale in all of the 3 packs. I say under 70 quid for 3 outstandingly detailed wagons. I mean, it really is, yeah, it's good value. When I got these Cavalex BBAs earlier in the month, I was blown away by the detail on them. I really was. But being a wagon, you've got to put loads on them at some point. So I've gone to Goodwood Scenics and I've bought some sheet steel. Now you get it in 2 varieties. You get the finished effect, and you also get the rusted effect. The rusted effect is really quite effective actually. It's kind of rust paint they've put on it, and I think they're like 1.5 mil thick strips of plastic. and you get, I think, 5 in a pack. And you can also buy these little wooden spacers for obviously stacking. So I bought a selection, as you can see here, of the smaller ones, the longer sheets, and then the thinner ones as well. And you can then position them on your wagons as you see fit. Now, I'm well aware that the BBAs carried slabs and ingots, etc., of steel. Hopefully they'll be coming in the Goodwood Scenics range shortly, and I'll be adding that so I can mix and match what kind of loads that I put on my Cavalex BBA. Now, these are already sold out, these wagons, so hopefully if you missed out, Cavalex will do another run of these, because the detail is as I said, superb. They'll be getting a weathered and toning down at some stage as well, because they were very rarely pristine for more than a day after they were released, due to the kind of work they were doing. Obviously hot slabs of metal was going on them, which led to some quite interesting rusting patterns, so hopefully that will be replicated when I do get them weathered. So yeah, head across to Goodwood Scenics and you'll get some idea of what they stock for wagon loads. Well, that's it for the September update. Hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously I've had 3 main jobs on the go this month, with the Backscenes, the Girder bridge and the scratch build retaining walls. So it might not look visually as a massive leap forward, but there's a lot of planning, and especially when you're scratch building, it just takes so much longer than if you're making, say, a kit. So hopefully in the next month these all 2 scratch builds will come to fruition and be completed, and then I can move on to do some scenic work around about the station area and the tunnels coming into the station. You'll notice I've not been uploading as frequently as I have in the past. It's still early season as far as I'm concerned. When we get into October onwards, obviously I'm up here a lot more, there's less stuff to do outside, so then hopefully progress will push on even further. I'm drawing back on my review videos a little bit. There's not as much of a market for them now as there once was, so I'll still be doing my reviews, such as the Cavalex BBA style stuff, but it'll happen usually just in with a normal layout update and not a standalone video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions, please do get in touch. Cheers for now.